Okay, so anyways, today we're sitting with someone who's really making an influence in the Manchester community. One of our good friends, Akeim Mundell BEM. Before we get into it, let me just list a few of his accomplishments out. So Akeim left school at 16, no clear path, no roadmap, and somehow flipped that into a life of purpose, leadership, and culture and community impact. He's now a leader in education, working in secondary school in South Manchester, and even serving as one of the UK's youngest principals. He's also deeply embedded in the community work as a Director of Manchester Carnival as well. On top of that, he was awarded BEM, the British Empire Medal, for his dedication and commitment to his community. He's also a mentor, a youth advocate, a recruiter, a guardian of Mossad, a true builder, creative, a distributor. So with all that being said, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you very much. It's an absolute pleasure to be here with you guys.
Well, thank you for being our first guest.
Yeah, thank you so much for coming on and joining us today. I'm excited for this episode.
Yeah. So we're going to start off some icebreakers before we get into it. So a few questions you can answer to.
Okay.
So the first one is, if your life had a soundtrack, what song is playing right now?
Okay, the song would be Lauryn Hill Zion.
Okay.
It's definitely my go-to on good days, on bad days. The reason why is I'm a big believer of, I love music. I can dance to anything, but I especially like music that has a strong message. And Lauryn Hill's song Zion is about, like, aiming high and knowing that there's hope. Having faith, staying positive, aiming high. So that would be my my soundtrack right now. Because I feel at current with with what I'm doing, happy on my path, but I've got so much ideas and so much different things going on in my head in terms of what I want to accomplish for young people, work wise, out of work, community wise as well. So that song kind of it adds to where my head is at currently.
Okay.
That's Lauryn Hill Zion.
That's a good choice.
Yeah, very much so.
What about you, Z? I'm not answering the question.
I was gonna do like a jokey joke, but I think we're getting to
Go on.
Well, I have two. If we're on the funnier side, I'll say like Lil Wayne, Drop the World, or whatever the song is. Just express the winter, the anger I'm feeling. My other one, on the serious note, would be the Walls group. It's a Christian group, and the song is Word. So it's like trying to have a greater connection with God, and you're struggling because of all the struggles and tribulations you're going through. So you're just like, I'm just going to come as I am to God, and then I'm just going to tell you all my problems and hope that you can do something about it or help me in some sort of way. So that song gets me through the day, especially, as I said, months with the winter months and all this stuff. Like, I just need motivation to get through my day a bit more.
Absolutely.
Wow, that's amazing,
Yeah.
guys. Thank you.
I do feel like I've got one more though.
Okay,
Go on.
Sorry, can I sneak it in?
go
Yeah.
Children of Zeus. So Children of Zeus, both of the main songs really, Hard Work and Still Standing. Obviously Children of Zeus, born and bred from Manchester. It's all about, pushing our own. I love it. They've absolutely grown big. They're doing amazing things. But even though those two songs have been out for quite a few years, it's the first two songs that I play every day when I get into the car.
Really?
And, even it doesn't matter if I've got 3 minutes to get to work, those two songs have to be played before I arrive and before I get out. It doesn't even matter if I'm in the car park, to the point where colleagues even start singing the song to me when they see me on the corridor because they hear me arriving and they hear the same two songs being played every day. And I don't live that far from work. So as you can imagine, those two songs get me the 6 minutes, they get me there. And once again, like I said, the lyrics of those are, strong lyrics as well, but just the beat, the rhythm, and it just wakes me up. It wakes me up each day.
Nice.
I might have to check it out. I won't lie, 'cause
Definitely.
I've not heard of them
Children
before.
of Zeus,
They're good.
Still Standing, and Hard Work. Those two songs I recommend.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
Nice. Okay, so next question. What's the most Manchester thing about you?
Wow. The first question on these have got me already. The most Manchester thing about me, I'd say, is I don't know. A few things. I'd say I'm a talker. I love to talk. To anyone. Honestly, like sometimes, like for example, if we were to go to Trafford Centre tomorrow, I'd talk to everyone. You'd think, wow, do you know these people? And I'd be like, no, I don't know them. I just talk to everyone.
Yeah.
So I think that's quite a Manchester thing, because I feel like as a city, Manchester is a very, warming city compared to some others, not naming no others.
Yeah.
I'd say that. The second thing is, I don't know. I say I'm a little bit of a party animal as well. I used to be. I'm not saying I don't party anymore. But for me, any excuse to go out and celebrate,
You're there.
They're gonna do
I'm
it.
all for it. It doesn't matter what it is. It's, someone says, oh, I got a new job. Oh my goodness, we've got to go out and celebrate.
Yeah.
And then people will be looking like, we don't. But I'm like, we do.
Yeah.
So, Manchester as a city, people love to party, don't they? They love to
Yeah.
party. They love to have a good time. And I feel that's a Manchester thing about me. Any excuse to
be
celebrate,
outside.
go out.
I was gonna add to your point, like as Northerners, we're known for being very friendly and talking a lot. Like sometimes I always like, oh, I've overshared
Yeah.
when I meet people, but that's how you connect
Try
with
to calm it
people.
down, but I'm just like, it's you.
Yeah, I can't help it either. I'm a talker.
Honestly, like I'm really bad with it. Like I was in Zara last week and someone was on the phone, someone that I don't know, having a conversation. I picked up the conversation. I just went, oh my goodness, I was thinking about that before. The woman turned around and looked at me and was like, I wasn't even
What the-
talking
You
to you.
see?
But do you get where I'm coming
Yeah,
from? Like,
yeah.
But after that, I got involved in the conversation. But yeah, it's a Manchester thing. We're very friendly, and yeah, it's a good thing.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
Okay. This one. What's one thing about Manchester people that outsiders will never understand?
Um,
The talking thing's a thing.
Yeah.
Like, just being friendly. I would
Being
say
overly friendly. Because when I went
That's
to
one.
London, I was like, they don't like people.
that. They don't
like
even
each
say
other.
good morning.
Yeah.
No, honestly, I feel like I've got friends in other cities, yeah, and I feel like in Manchester, for example, let's say if you are out with a partner, for example, or let's say one of your friends is from another city, is in Manchester, and let's say if they're out with a partner and someone goes to the bar, for example, I think it's about understanding that people talking to your partner, for example, doesn't necessarily mean that they're trying a thing or they're trying to worm their way in.
Yeah.
This is how we are.
just
Like
look-
as a
yeah.
city, we're just very happy,
Yeah.
cheerful people. We'll talk to each other, and often it doesn't mean there's an agenda, which sometimes I feel like people won't understand that. It's
Yeah.
like, oh, what did they want? They don't want nothing.
Nothing.
This is just how we are as a city. I say the other thing is, I say just our kindness in general.
Yeah.
You get where I'm coming from? Like I've been, for example, out or I've been in a shop and let's say someone's maybe been short of change, and rather than them going into a £10 note or a £20 note, someone behind will say, oh, there's the 50p. Do you get where I'm coming from? And it's like, that's Manchester for you. Do you know what I mean? Like, I feel like if we can help each other, we will. Don't get me wrong, there's some elements where it's not necessarily like that, but compared to some other cities, I think that's something that stands out about Mancunians and about Manchester as a city. It doesn't matter about the colour of your skin, it doesn't matter about your gender, your sexuality, it doesn't matter. Like if we can help each other, then we will.
Yeah. I was gonna say, just as an example, back to my point of London, like how you get on the bus, people just get on. In Manchester, the first thing when you're getting off is thank you. And I was very shocked not to experience that in any other city, but ours where you show appreciation to people that are helping or doing things for you.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Even like being in the shop, and obviously, you hold the door for the person behind you.
Yeah.
I've been in other cities and the doors
Slammed in your face.
slammed right in my face. I'm like,
What's going on?
I'm here. But then it's interesting because we know that, like for example, you're in a shop, the first thing you do, you look behind you, and if there's someone there, what do? You hold the door, and that's what we know. But and we assume that other cities should or may do the same, but it's not often the case.
It's not a norm.
Yeah, and that's what makes us unique. That's why people feel comfortable visiting Manchester as a city, and that's probably why they like it as well, because they come here and it's like, oh, everyone's you
Different
have that
vibe.
sense of togetherness.
Yeah, very much so. That's so true.
Yeah. Okay, last one on the icebreaker is, if you could design a school subject that actually prepares young people for life, what would it be?
Okay, if I could, right, I think for me, it would be the importance of finances. And the reason why I say that is because when I look back to when I was in school, I definitely didn't get taught the difference of a debit card to a credit card. Yeah, I
Very
didn't understand that debit card means it's your money, credit card means it's not your money.
money.
Yeah, another
You
thing,
learn the hard
yeah,
way.
I definitely didn't get taught that. And me being in the education system now, like being truthful about it, I don't think it's taught to the level that it needs to be now. Different things such as like interest rates. I definitely didn't know the difference of interest rates or how it works, for example. Things like when touching on finances, even the fact of like salaries and understanding that if a job's advertised as a salary, that's not the salary that you're getting.
Yeah.
Like, by the time you deduct your tax, your national insurance,
Different.
it's something different. I didn't know that. I remember going into my first job at the age of 16 and thinking, oh my goodness, and I had deducted. Well, what I'd done, I divided the salary that it was advertised at by 12 months. When I got my first month pay, I was like, wow.
Yeah.
And I questioned it. And that's when it got explained to me. That, we didn't get taught that in school. But linking on to that as well, in terms of finances, mortgages.
Yeah.
How many of us as young people, and how many young people today aspire to want to move out, but they don't understand that aspiring to purchase a home is better than aspiring to move out, because I'm sure we've got many friends who have done it. When you're young, you move out, they move into an apartment, they're paying the majority of their wage, it goes on that rent, somebody else's mortgage that you're actually paying off. You get where I'm coming from? Whereas if you just save and then wait until you've got the finances there to be able to purchase, you'd be in a better position for adulthood. So I think like finances goes into all of those remits, and I feel that it's not taught. Yes, it's touched on now in education, but it's not taught to the strength that it needs to be, so that it prepares young people for adulthood.
That's so true.
That's true.
Even to my age, just being honest, like I struggle to understand mortgages and the prices around it and what you need to save. I have to do a lot of research for myself to understand how it works. But even then, I still don't feel like I know enough to actually go and have a meeting about it.
Exactly. Because I remember, I thought it was just all about purchasing your home. I didn't know about like stamp duty, and I didn't know all these extra additions that comes with that. Do you get where I'm coming from? It's like, you always think deposit. Once you got your deposit, you're ready.
Yeah.
It's not necessarily the case, because there's so much different things and logistics that come into that. But I feel, preparing young people for that from an early age, from GCSE years, then it just puts them in a better position, because when they leave school, they've got a clearer aim of what they want to achieve. Yes, I want to work because I want to buy ABC, not just trainers and clothes. Do you get where I'm coming from?
Yeah, I won't lie.
Yeah, that's actually true. I was actually going to say finances as well, in terms of like even credit scores. People don't even understand now at our age the importance of credit scores, how to build your credit score.
Yeah.
What's damaging your credit score, all that type of stuff. Even money management as well. Like I'd say we only experienced that when we moved out to go to uni.
Yeah.
So we'd get our student loan, and then that would have to last us like 3-4 months, and then we had to do our groceries and stuff like that. I didn't even know how much cheese and how expensive cheese was.
I didn't know how much groceries were.
I didn't actually know like how much groceries was until I moved out at 18, started doing my own groceries and stuff. But like when you get into a relationship, let's say that person hasn't gone into uni, hasn't had that experience, so like you can budget.
A bit
and
better.
that person might not have the experience
Absolutely.
until that point later on in adulthood as well.
And it's hard. I think uni throws you into the deep end of learning money management, because you have a certain amount to last you 3 months, and it's hard sometimes to even get a job as a student. So trying to balance that, and most places don't want part-time workers.
Not every young person experiences uni as well.
Yeah,
so they won't have that experience.
Exactly. But that's why I feel like platforms like this are very important, because I feel, it's important that we share our experiences with young people. Do you get where I'm coming from? Because they don't often get that. For example, they might not get that level of support or that conversation in the household that they're in, or they might not get it in school. And I think that's where I always explain and describe myself as a unique teacher. And the reason why is because no matter what I'm teaching, or if it's an assembly or whatever it is, I often bring it personal. And when I say I bring it personal, I tell them, like, for example, my journey. Do you get where I'm coming from? So we spoke about credit scores before, and I was speaking to I spoke to the kids about credit score, and I told them what I had to do to get my credit score up. And it was interesting because it happened so randomly, just informal conversation, but they were very engaged and they started asking questions. And what I said to them is, look, I said the first time that I knew about credit scores when I wanted to purchase, and when I went on there, I was in the red. And I thought, how am I in the red? Like, how is my credit score poor? Like, it don't make sense. Then when I spoke to an advisor, I said, because I've never took credit out. And what I had to do is I had to get a 12-month credit card. And what I used to do is when I used to go out, purchase things, I'd use that. And then every payday, I'd transfer the money back. After 12 months, closed it. And then I went from the red to the green. So then they were like, well, how? So do you get where I'm coming from? So it's about, like, for example, sharing your journey. Because, sometimes I know, some people don't want to bring it personal, but it's so powerful to be able to, like, tell them what you had to do and allow them to ask you questions. And that's why platforms like this are important, because someone might, for example, tap into this and might think, oh, I've never checked my credit score, or I didn't know my credit score was that important. You get where I'm coming from?
And I think that's good hearing it from a teacher, because I think when we were in school, a lot of teachers tried to keep that professional boundary where their life was such a mystery to us. So we just thought they had these perfect lives and nothing touched them.
Yeah, exactly.
So hearing that, a teacher has gone through this experience and this is what you can do to overcome it, helps you feel like, okay, I can better myself as well. So I think that is good to hear that.
Teachers had it all figured out.
And then you grow up and realize, no, we're all going through everything
100%,
together.
100%.
That's crazy. Okay. So that leads on nicely to, like, the origin of your story. So take us back to when you were 16 and you decided to leave school. What led to that decision that you didn't want to do education anymore?
So I'd say my journey has been quite an interesting one. I'll bring it back a little bit to the age of 13. So I lost a close friend due to gun crime. And at that time, 2007, 2008 in central Manchester, I should say, was 2 difficult years because a lot of young people's lives were taken. The gun and knife crime rate was rising, and I'd say the streets were quite a difficult place at that time. From that moment, I became a school refuser, so I just declined with school in terms of just not wanting to attend, not feeling like the education system was for us, who were going through certain situations at that time. And because there was so much happening amongst the streets that we lived on, school just wasn't, I just didn't feel like it was a safe place. I didn't feel like it was enticing for me. So at that time, because I lost, like, my close friend and I knew so much was happening, a lot of other people's lives were taken, I thought, right, okay, something's not right here. We need to do something so that we're not losing any other friends, no other young people's lives are being taken. So I remember at the time, mum and dad I had strict parents. They let me do things like go out and stuff, but very strict parents. And mum and dad both social workers at the time. My dad's an ex-army man, so he served for 20 years. So as you can imagine, my household was very regiment. They said, look, we totally understand how you feel about what's gone, but look, you're not going down the wrong path. They didn't ask me, they told me, you're not going down the wrong path. You're saying that you don't want any other young people's lives to be taken and you feel passionate about it. There's your laptop. We've created you an email address. Start putting your ideas on paper, start connecting with people, and then let's put something to fruition. So I thought, okay, cool, no problem. The first thing that came to mind was my under 18 events. And the whole idea of that was, we just felt like we were bored. So at that age of 13, we were bored. The streets weren't safe. We didn't have nowhere to go. We wanted to party and have a good time, but there was nowhere to do that. So I remember writing a proposal and I sent it to the council and the Greater Manchester Police. And I said, look, we want to do an under 18s event every school holiday to bring young people together. We're happy for the police and authorities to be there to make sure it's safe, but we just feel like we need a space where we can come together, dance, listen to music, have a good time.
How old were you when you did that?
13.
Wow.
And it was crazy because although I took my mum and dad's advice, I didn't really expect anything to come from it, if you get where I'm coming from. But Anyway, police contacted me, asked me to come in for a meeting, and they funded me £5,000. They said, "Look, there's £5,000. We're going to fund you your under 18 events for the next few years. We will support you with that, and yeah, let's do it." So I remember the first one taking place, and we had about 500 young people. It was amazing. DJs, performances, the authorities were there, so the police were there, and that was an interesting thing because at that time, it's more than now, young people didn't want to have no connection with the police, didn't want to be seen talking to them. We didn't like them, let's be real. That's what it was. So it was like an easy tool to be able to kind of, to build that bridge a little bit and to say, yes, I understand why we as young people don't like the police, but they funded us, they've given us this money to make these events possible. We had connections there giving advice about jobs and apprenticeships and stuff. We had Brooke there giving sexual health advice as well, because
remember Brooke.
we know the script. You know what I mean? Like, not all of us felt confident going into school and saying, "No, can we have resources?" For example. So Brooke were there, but it created a very good platform for 3 years. So every school holiday brought people together. So from that point on, I had those projects running and it was great, but I still was a school refuser. And what happened is, at the age of 16, my PSHE teacher, she was the one, everyone had that one member of staff in school who was like, your go-to. She was just the one that believed in me, I say, even though at that time I maybe wasn't the best young person. She persevered, she was consistent, sending me resources home, encouraging me to come into school, like just getting me excited. So I returned to school to sit my GCSEs, and that's it. Not expecting to even do well. Luckily, I managed to do well at that time. But then from that point on, then my old teacher, my old primary school teacher, Jenny McGarry, contacted me and said, "Look, we think, your journey and your experiences that you've been through, it's unique. And it's special, and we've got some young people in school that we'd like you to come and work for us and support, and we will support you through everything. So we'll make sure that you do education on the job. Don't worry about that, but we'd like you to apply for this teacher assistant job." And I applied for it. So at this age of 16, I left, sat my GCSEs, came out of school, started working in my old primary school.
Wow.
And that's where my journey began. And that's obviously this year marks 15 years in education. So I never left. So
that's incredible.
That promise of we will support you and we will make sure you do all education on the job, that lady stuck to her word.
Wow.
Like all my courses I done on the job, all my degrees, my PGC done on the job. So she actually stuck to what she said.
Word, yeah.
And that's how I managed to get to where I am now.
Oh,
I think that's amazing. At 13, to hear you had that drive already in you, and your parents were willing to support that, and you had so many people around you who believed in you. It must have been like reassuring for you at that young age.
I think the big thing was the support system that you had from your parents and from that one teacher who actually believed in you as well. So
no, definitely, because when I think back, it was, I don't know, I feel like because I was so passionate, because within 2007, 2008, there was like 10 young people that were killed within those 2 years. And I think I was frightened, for one, and because I lived in the community and I was thinking, oh my goodness, like what we're going to do. And then secondly, it was like, gosh, I knew what was the issue, and one of the issues was that we were bored, so we were out there on the streets causing trouble because we had nothing else to do. So it was an important aspect, but it was also quite interesting that when I look back now, that the fact that I even had the confidence to even go and sit down with authorities and to tell them what was needed. Do you know what I mean? Like, when I look back now, I laugh and I giggle a bit, because I'm like, who did I think I was? Do you know what I mean? Like, at the age of 13, rocking up with a briefcase, going to Manchester Town Hall, like telling them, you need to do this. But the thing is, they actually done it. So they actually, gave that support, and they gave us that opportunity. And it was only once I got to the age of 16, so obviously they ran successful from I was 13 to 16, and then there was like another younger group that kind of wanted to to do the events and stuff. So I supported them with the events and passed the baton on to them. Then when they got to 16, they done the same. So it's interesting that now the under 18 events are still going on.
They're still
Yeah.
going on.
Everyone's
That's good.
doing the same. And I like that. 13 to 16, we run it. And you pass it on to the younger group. We don't hold on to it. Do you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
in adulthood, it's not for adults to be doing under 18 events. Give the young people the trust.
it on.
Give them,
Yeah.
like, support them. Give them the trust. They know what they need. They know what they'd like.
And it's a different
it's
time
building
for
their
them.
skills.
Yeah.
So even now, it's still happening. Like a new group takes it 13 to 16, then they pass it to a new group, and then they run it for a few years. The council still fund it, the police still fund it.
Wow.
So it was a start of a journey that still continued.
And that
It's
all
great.
started with you.
Started from there.
That's
I'm not trying to be that guy.
Toot your
but
own horn.
started from there.
No,
That's
yeah.
Yeah, man.
I mean-
2007. It's crazy. 18 years. 18 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's incredible, though.
Yeah.
I don't know. At 13, I was not even thinking of anything like that. So that's what I'm saying. For me, just amazing just to hear like something you started at 13 is still like persevering and flourishing to this day, and it's still giving young people opportunities. So I think it's really good to hear.
Definitely. And when I think back as well, what's interesting about it is, yes, we used to sell tickets and people used to buy tickets, but we never used to take anything. So what used to happen is what we made from the event went to the next one. Then it went to the next one. Do you get where I'm coming
Yeah.
from? So it was like that do you know what I mean? Like the money, the finances were being used again for the following event and for the following event. So there was always that cash flow.
Yeah.
So that funding from GMP helped massively to start them off. But then actually we didn't really have to be going out there finding it because the cash flow was there. The events funds just went to the next one, to the next one, to the next one, and a percentage would always get donated to a charity. So everyone that attended on the event, they had to like fill in like a quick form when they walked in to vote for their charity, and the charity that got the most votes was who got the percentage of the profits that night.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's
So, yeah,
amazing.
man, it was good.
Wow. I mean, you've answered my
Yeah.
next question really basically all in one. I was just going to ask you if you ever felt judged for the decision you made leaving at 16 and whether you always knew like the traditional system wasn't for you. But
Yeah, I'd say 100% I was definitely judged by, let's say, not being the norm of a student in other ways. And how I know that was, I remember, for example, even trying to get work experience. And I remember at the time when I wasn't really attending school, I did want to do something, but I knew that being hands-on was more kind of my thing. So, for example, let's say if I knew more about T-levels and apprenticeships in those days, I would have said that would have been my journey. You get where I'm coming from? So I knew that I was the type of person that needed to get stuck in, needed to get involved rather than doing exams and rather than sitting papers and doing assignments and stuff. I wasn't that type of learner. And I remember at the time of not attending school, I thought, you know what, I'm going to try and use the time wisely. I'm going to try and secure some work experiences. So I remember writing a CV, writing cover letters and handing them out. No one was interested because the way that they looked at it was, wait, you should be in school. You're not attending school, but you're asking us for work experience. And it was a struggle. No one even wanted to bring me in or to give me that opportunity because I think the way that they saw it was, and now that I look back, I get it. It was like, well, you've got school.
Yeah.
You're not going there, but you want work experience.
Yeah.
No. So it was quite difficult if you get where I'm coming from. But what helped was it's about connecting. So it was always like knowing a person who had a contact, if you get where I'm coming from. And I was able, at that time, in my head, I wanted to join, like I wanted to go into medicine. So I done work experience at like Wivenshaw Hospital, then Wivington Hospital, then in a pharmacy. And it was great. But it took a lot. It took, for example, people that I knew or family members to go and ask for a favour.
Yeah, put a word in.
Yeah, but me going out and approaching, I was definitely looked down as, oh, you're a school refuser, but you wanted an opportunity. No. So yeah.
Oh, okay.
Okay, interesting.
Well, to build onto that and being like the youngest head teacher principal in the country, how would you say your journey has been from leaving school to now leading one, basically being the leader of one?
I'd say my journey has been in the education system has been amazing. I can't lie. Like I said, this year marks 15th year in education, and it's crazy because I'm only 31. And each time I always say, like, you know, I was at a conference last week and they said, oh, you know, how long have you been in education? I said 15 years.
They look at you like,
Everyone double looks. Everyone's like, thinks I'm taking the mic, and I love it. Because then it stems to that whole conversation of explaining everything.
Yeah.
But it's been interesting because I just didn't realise that I'd have the opportunity to join senior leadership so soon, if you get where I'm coming from. Remember when I started in education, September 2010, it wasn't because that was my plan. I didn't want to join the education sector. My plan was I wanted to go into the medicine field.
Wow.
But then I'd done that. In my head, I felt like I went into education as a favour to my old head teacher, who was my year 2 and year 3 teacher, who I absolutely adored. In my head, that was my plan for a year. So my plan was to do that for a year, to, you know, like build me into being in a structure, to gain some experience, to earn money. That was my vision. And then I was then going to join the medicine sector. Hopefully that was my idea. But then doing that, I absolutely loved education. And then I thought, no, I want to work with young people. I want to work in the education system. And the reason why was because I realized that there was a lack of representation in schools. It always bugged me that the diverse members of staff were always the cleaning staff, the catering staff, or the teaching assistants.
Yeah.
That annoyed me. And even though at the time that I was a teaching assistant myself and I was climbing my way through the teaching assistant levels, that inspired me to climb above, to aim above that, because it was interesting that, you know, there were so many schools in central Manchester that were very diverse. My school was a very diverse school in terms of the students. I'd say 70% global majority easily. But then when you looked in the teaching staff, there wasn't any black teachers. There wasn't any black senior leaders. But then all the support staff were black. So that kind of made me think, you know what? No, I want to stick with education. I'm going to try my best to climb as high as I can. And that was my vision. So, you know, I think when I reflect back on the past 15 years, I had a beautiful opportunity to serve in many roles. You know, started as a level 1 teaching assistant to then a higher level teaching assistant, then became class teacher and IT lead, then became pastoral leader, then head of year, then senior pastoral manager, and then now into leadership as assistant principal, just finished my headship. So it's quite interesting, like when I think back, because like I said, it wasn't ever a part of my plan. I didn't, you know, education wasn't where I was looking, but I went into it, absolutely loved it, knew my reasons for wanting to be in education. And I think there was some other aspects as well in terms of, I felt that there was lack of, I think, working with so many young people, I realised that not many young people had that father figure at home, or a male role model within the household. And I felt that with a majority of the young people that I supported and built stronger bonds with, it was because they were lacking that. They were lacking that you know, being able to have that male to go to. And for many of the young people that I've worked with, they didn't just see me as a member of staff or as a teacher. Many saw me as a big brother. You know, many saw me as, nowadays that I'm getting older, see me as a father. I'm like, yeah, like, you like my dad, sir? I'm like, but do you get where I'm coming from? Like, I think that's been my driving force. Definitely the lack of diverse representation in the education system, the lack of diversity in senior leadership, and, you know, the need for more male role models in the education system for young people of today.
No, I think that's really
agrees with that. I agree with that. Like, young black and brown boys don't really have figures like you to look up to you in these type of positions anyways. Like, they can look at you and identify themselves, like,
and see where they could possibly be in the future.
Like, when we were growing up, we were told to kind of like hide our identity, or you can't wear bright red braids to school or blonde braids. It always had to be black. You can't have like piercings. You can't express yourself in the way you want to express yourself, basically. I think only up until we went to college, Loretto College, where we felt like, oh my gosh, we can be ourselves. Because we went to like a Caucasian
gonna
school.
add to that.
We're the only black girls in our whole
Yeah.
school. Actually, in our whole school. So when we went to Loretto, it was like, wow, we felt free.
I felt anxious going into a diverse college than I was because I
then we
had been
felt
so
like-
conditioned that
Yeah.
this
Yeah, we had
we
to
just
hide
have to hide
ourselves.
ourselves.
Yeah.
So going into Loretto, I remember we walked into the canteen and I saw so many black
We were
faces. I had a
overwhelmed.
panic
Like,
attack
we
and I
literally-
walked out.
We were literally overwhelmed. Like, I
Yeah.
always felt like, I don't know, I always felt like I was too black to be around
Yeah, and then not
our
black
white
enough.
students.
Yeah.
And then when I went to Loretto, I felt like I was too white to be around the black students. So it took a while for me to find my place within
Absolutely.
that. So like for black boys to be able to see someone like you who looks like them, you know,
Yeah.
earrings, gold teeth, as a head teacher, as a head
Oh,
teacher, do you know what I mean?
definitely,
Like, it's
like-
important to see time.
Definitely,
that,
it's
yeah,
important that you say that in terms of diversity.
Yeah.
And it's interesting because like at you know, like at my school, like we do like culture days and wild days, right? And the whole idea of those is we always say that, look, we want this day to represent us and to represent you. So however you feel, whatever you feel represents you and your identity, that's how we want you to come to school. If it's cultural dress, if it's not cultural dress, if it's just something, because some people say I've not got a culture, yeah, and it's like, okay, well, like, you know, have you got an item, or, you know, for example, your favorite football team or whatever it is. We want everyone to just drop down, like no uniform. You're coming in with you know, it's about us celebrating who we are as people, and it's fantastic because like there's certain days, for example, we have wild days such as like when we was in school, we didn't even know these days existed. World Afro Day, World Hijab Day. Do you get where I'm coming from? And it's
We're
like,
learning right now.
you get where I'm coming from? Like,
Yeah.
and we do big things for it, because we think it's important that people feel that they can be themselves, and especially in schools and in places where we want young people to be them. Because when you feel that you can be yourself, that's when you grow more, and that's when you blossom.
I can't. This is like, I can't lie. It's just amazing to me to hear it because in the school we went to, we had Black
had-
History Month. That's it. But sometimes I felt like the teachers were a bit ignorant. They weren't taught enough about
It
certain
was kind of
cultures.
uncomfortable, actually. You'd have a whole assembly and they'll be talking about Black History Month, and then maybe you'd have like students reenacting being slaves.
Yeah, things
And they
like
were
that.
white. And then they'll be
Or
like,
they'll play a movie and after the Black King, you stay behind. How do you feel about
Yeah.
that? So it was like they were
so like
not.
in a whole auditorium of like 1,000 students, then there's 5 black people and we're
Wow.
watching slaves. So
Ridiculous.
it was
That's
crazy.
That's what I'm saying. It's amazing to hear like you
Yeah.
actually get invested in
Empower
other people's
them,
cultures.
yeah.
Absolutely, like it's not about tick box exercises. Like for, you know, like per year we fundraise for 3 charities as a school. In the past 3 years, we've raised over £20,000, and we only fundraise for charities that champion diversity.
Wow.
So the charities that champion diversity, equity, and inclusion, we send that poll out to parents and carers, and everyone votes for their 3 charities. They're the charities that we fundraise for throughout the year, and it's things like that. Like, you know, this whole Black History Month thing. Black History should be all year round.
All year
You know what I mean? Like we don't need a month. You
Yeah.
get what I mean?
Yeah.
It should be a part of the norm. Black history should be embedded into the curriculum. And because things don't quite work like that, so what we do it in other ways. So it's built into the school system all year round. So when it comes to Black History Month, yes, we celebrate and we raise it, but then it's not seen different because they're learning about it every day.
Every day.
And it's great. That's amazing
Absolutely.
to hear.
Yeah. So you've made it like a norm for them.
Yeah.
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 Wow.
Just my next question. With stepping into, like you said, you visioned yourself, you didn't really vision yourself in these high leadership roles, but now that you are, when you first started, did you feel like you had imposter syndrome, or did you walk into it feeling like you're meant to be there?
I'd say so. When I came into this position, it was January 2023, and I'd say, if I'm being honest, it was definitely difficult. I remember going home at the end of that term thinking, what have I done? And what I meant by that was, because I thought to myself, wow, my last position in my old school, I was fine, absolutely loved it. It was easy. I didn't have to prove my way. I had an amazing team that I used to line manage who were like a family. To now feeling like I'm having to go above and beyond to prove myself. And that is how I felt. You know, I felt like it was the case of, because I was a young man who Yeah.
So you were like 28 at the time.
Yeah, so I was 28
Wow.
years old. You know, I often feel like I was seen as, oh, yeah, we're still young, haircut every week, still slits in my eyebrow, slits at the back of my hair, gold
teeth,
my
earrings.
rings on, my bracelet on. You
You're not the
where I'm coming from?
epitome of like professionalism.
Definitely. I remember one day just looking in the mirror and thinking, I don't fit this position.
Yeah.
And the reason why I felt like that was because, you know, there was a few different things, such as, for example, a parent will turn up for a parental meeting, and the way that they'd greet me as if, oh, are you do you get what I mean?
Like questioning you.
So I'm like, are you the mentor? I'm like, no, I'm not.
Not the mentor.
Do you get what
Yeah.
And nothing wrong with being a mentor. I'm still a mentor now. Do you know what I mean? In outside of school, but it was often like situations like that, and sometimes just feeling like I have to work harder. Do you get what I'm
yourself.
like, to prove myself and to kind of prove that I deserve the position that I'm in.
Yeah.
That is definitely how I felt. And I'm not gonna lie and say that's not how. I'm not gonna lie and say that I don't have moments that I still feel like that. But that's why a lot of the work that I do now, in terms of like keynote talks and speaking at conferences and speaking to different schools, is about that.
Yeah.
And us as diverse educators not feeling like that.
Yeah.
Do you get where I'm coming from? And it's about, okay, what can we do so that, for example, other black or brown boys and girls feel that they can be the next head teacher, so that they can be the next deputy? And how do we support them with that? Do you get where I'm coming from in terms of what information are we giving them from now? Do you know, like, what are we giving them to access? So I do a lot of talks about that and sharing my experience as, you know, someone who wanted to be a senior leader, became a senior leader, and still found it a little bit difficult having to prove myself. But the fact that us as diverse individuals shouldn't have to be doing that.
You don't have to feel like you have to work 10 times harder
Absolutely.
to stay in your position.
We shouldn't have to be, you know, proving our way to have deserved the role that we're in.
Yeah, very much
And
so.
I know that I'm not the only one that might feel like that. I speak to people all the time who are in, you know, like very good roles. You know, one of my close friends is a barrister, and it's the same with him. Like, you know, he says sometimes it's like, at the end of the day, it's like he has to debrief on what he's done that day. And I said,
Like
do
micromanagement.
you get where I'm coming from? I
Yeah.
said, totally understand you. So it's not just in education. I feel that it's in the workplace.
Yeah, it's across the board.
Across the
And that's where businesses just need to do a bit better.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with what you're saying. But going from that, so based on your unconventional start in education, did that shape the way you lead or teach now?
I'd say, you know, reflecting on my start in the education system, it's played a huge part in the type of educator that I am today. And it's, you know, I was speaking to a colleague about it last week, and it's little things like, for example, let's say if a young man is on my radar, if you get where I'm coming from, as you know, needing that extra support, and if I see that young man coming to school 2 hours late, I am not going to shout at that young man. I'm going to talk to him to find out if he's okay, because there might be a reason why he's 2 hours late. You get where I'm coming from? So I feel that definitely my experiences has changed how I am as a person. Yes, there's systems that need to be followed, and we know, yes, school starts at this time and young people have to be in, but it's about understanding that young people are going through so much. The amount of young people that are young carers and have to give their a parent medication before they come to school, the amount of young people who have to drop siblings to school because the parent might have a disability or you know, might have to go to work, or it's a single parent household. I am very mindful of all of those situations and much more. Social, emotional, mental health being an issue right now. A lot of young people going through anxiety and having experiences where they're not getting support to it, because so many young people are going through those experiences that there's long waiting lists for external support. You get where I'm coming from? So it's about, for example, how as an educator I can go above and beyond, and by that it's by young people knowing that I've got an open door policy. You know, they can come and speak to me about anything. I was in the toilets on Friday, and it was hilarious because I heard my name being said by two students, and I thought, let me hear what they're gonna say. Yeah, so I heard them say, "Oh yeah, you know that Mr. Mundell." So I thought, right, okay, I want to hear what they're gonna say. So then the other one said, "Oh, when we leave, what are you gonna remember, sir, as?" At that point, you know, my heart started pacing. And I thought, oh, here we go. And then the other young person said, well, I'm going to remember his do-rag lines on his forehead. Every day when he comes in, he's got do-rag lines. So I was like, okay. And the next one said, you know what else though? The fact that he feeds us every day. So they were like, in it. They're like, when we're hungry, we just go to his office and he just gives us breakfast bars. And I thought, you know what? I love that. You get where I'm coming from.
Yeah.
The fact that, like, you know, young people come in and it'll be like, oh, sir, I've not had breakfast. No problem. Come. You know what I mean? Let's go.
Yeah.
Like, give them breakfast bars, give them a drink. Do you know what I mean? So it's one of those things, like, I feel my experience in education, the things that I knew I needed and would have benefited back then is how I shape how I am within my role. And it's about just going above and beyond, being there for them. And them just knowing that you are reachable. So I always say to the young people, look, if you guys are ever in danger, my Teams is always on my phone. So always send a message so they know all of that. You get where I'm coming from? And I think that's what I say makes me kind of unique from others, because, you know, some educators might think, you know, the role is 8:30 to 4:30,
And
and
that's
then
it.
shut
No.
up.
Clock out.
It's not. It's about, you know, and it's not just what's on the job description. You want to be a type of educator who, for example, young people will always remember as being that champion.
Yeah, I still remember my teacher. I was always late. I used to be in detention all the time. But when I was late, she would be the first one at the gate because she would know when I would come in, take me to her office, sit down, chat with me, give me my warning back, like talk with me, calm me down. And I saw her daughter at uni and she was like, oh my gosh, my mom used to talk about you. And I was like, oh wow. So like, you're forever going to be remembered in kids' lives. So you should
Absolutely.
have an impact.
And it's what they need. Remember, not every young person has that in the household. Yeah. You know, like some might have it, but some might not. Do you know what I mean? So it's about what can we do to support them. And just going above and beyond.
No, that's
That's
amazing.
amazing. Okay, so leading on to that, you have the BEM title, which is the British Empire Medal. How did that feel when you found out?
Well, that's quite an interesting story, right? So
Yeah.
the British Empire Medal, so that was December 2016. So December 2016, it was the Queen's New Year's Honours List. And in about May, I received an email saying, you know, congratulations, you know, individuals. So they never tell you who. So it says individuals have nominated and have submitted a pack for you to be considered for an honour. And it's been assessed, and we'd like to present you a British Empire Medal from the Queen. I deleted the email. And the reason why, because I thought it was someone messing around. Yeah. So I thought it was either someone messing around or I thought it was junk mail.
Yeah.
So I remember reading it and just thinking, oh, these people, and I deleted it.
Same to be.
Yeah.
What the hell?
Of course, the Queen contacted you.
The Queen
You know what I mean? I was
emailing
like,
me.
oh, please, yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that was the end of it, right? So about, let's say, after Christmas, like the 28th, 29th. Anyway, this letter comes in, and you know how their letters come, official brown paper, brown envelopes, and it had the Buckingham Palace stamp on it.
Oh.
So I remember my dad running upstairs.
Letter from the palace.
And I was like, what's up? You got it for the Queen. I was like, oh, whatever. Anyway, I opened it and it was the invite letter. So it was similar to what was in the email, but they were saying, look, either you can come to Buckingham Palace to collect your medal, or we can do it locally if you don't want to travel, and we can do it at the monastery. And I just thought, oh my goodness. And what was interesting is they wanted to present me the award when it was like, they wanted to do it the 17th of May, and my birthday's the 19th of May.
Oh, wow.
So it worked out very well. So, you know, you guys know how I am in terms of, for me, I need to know the logistics in terms of who nominated me and why.
He wants to know
Yeah.
details.
Like, why did you put me on?
And why, I want to see the application.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I contacted them and I asked for more information in regards to it. And up to this day, I still don't know who nominated me, by the way, because they said they can't tell you. No one's come forward to say who it was. But they said that, look, the reason why we've granted you the British Empire Medal was because at that time it was 10 years. So they said because you had done 10 years of service to the community sector, tackling gun and knife crime in central Manchester.
Wow.
So that's what my British Empire Medal was for. So it was quite a beautiful experience, to be honest, because didn't expect it.
So you got that at 23?
That was at 20. Oh,
Crazy.
you got
Doing the
good
maths.
maths. Come on.
I feel like I've done nothing with my life.
So that was interesting. So I remember I definitely took advantage of that in terms of went down to Buckingham Palace to collect it with my mum and dad. It was great going down with them and having them
That's
there.
nice, man.
And then obviously I had a big celebration the week after
Yeah.
that to celebrate that at my birthday.
Did you actually meet the Queen?
Yeah.
way.
So it was the Queen, and yeah, like the royal family. It was nice to meet them.
Wow.
But it was interesting because 2 years ago, then my dad got his MB from the Queen. So it's like we ended
Full
up
circle.
Full circle.
revisiting that same journey, and he got his for services for the elderly, services for the elderly. So he was the last recipient who got his medal before the Queen had passed away.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, great experience being able to go down there twice. But like we do, we don't do what we do for honours or for recognition, but it was very random how it happened, but very appreciative as well because, I always remember sitting in front of the TV with my gran and, watching Buckingham Palace and you hear stories and, it's always like, oh, it would be nice to go there one day.
And now you're
and
that
then you finally
person.
get to go. Do you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
it is a nice experience. But yeah.
Okay, so did receiving that award, the BEM title, shift your purpose and responsibility? Did it add any pressures after that?
I'd say, it's interesting that you asked, did it add any pressures? I think yes. The reason why it added pressures was because I felt that then there was definitely that stronger focus on, what's Akeim up to? Or what's Akeim doing next?
What's next?
And especially from authorities. So, I always had a good partnership with like Manchester City Council, for example, in terms of any projects or any events that I was having, did support it, did back it financially and also just as a supportive measure. But I think after that, it was then like, okay, what's next in the pipeline? And that's why I felt like, it gave me that push. And that encouragement as well, which sometimes is important because there can be moments where you think, oh, okay, I'm a bit tired of this now. Do you get where I'm coming from?
Yeah.
So I think it gave me that encouragement to continue, but then also to encourage me to look at what's next in the pipeline and to want to do more.
Yeah.
100%. And to just kind of stay positive as well, because then it's like, I feel you kind of then have a tag on you, if you get where I'm coming from. Because obviously you've got the title and you use it. Like I started using it straight away because like when applying for funding and stuff, I thought, oh, let me see if it
looks
makes a
good.
difference. And it actually does, which is so crazy. I remember submitting a funding bid before having the title, right? And didn't get it. And I remember submitting the same funding bid, right,
After
with
the
the title on, and I got the funding for the project.
Wow.
And it's crazy. And I didn't change nothing except my name.
Same.
And do you know what I mean? So yeah, I feel like it gave me that encouragement that I definitely needed. And yeah, definitely pressures. And even still now, all those years have passed, it's like people still reference it sometimes. So like if I go and speak at an event, they'll always introduce it with that. So it's always like, oh, you kind of have to make sure that you are in a positive light. And even that's in a social tip as well. For example, if I'm out of work and I'm with my friends, for example, walking on the street, it's like, don't be doing any madness. Like
Yeah, so
small
are
things.
you like overly like cautious or
Very,
environments that
very
you're in?
cautious in terms
Yeah.
of, let's say if I'm walking on the street and someone drops litter, for example, I'll go back and pick it up Do you know what I mean?
God,
Like,
no, that's too much pressure.
No, honestly,
I'm thinking about
I
like
think-
not getting too drunk.
no, like it's little things like that. Like I know it sounds daft, but like literally, it does add a bit of not paranoia, but like for example, you know how it is. I feel we spoke about it before in terms of like in the workplace, but I feel like as diverse individuals, I feel like there's always eyes on us, and especially when we're doing big things or good things, it's like
Don't eat
we're
all that
always
standard.
being
Yeah, it's like there's layers, but
always
your
waiting for
layer is
something
big
to
now.
slip. You get where I'm coming from?
Yeah, the
And,
waiting.
yeah, and for me, it gets as pity as litter. Yeah, I'm not letting it happen. Do you get where I'm coming from?
Yeah.
So
We're
yeah,
caught
yeah.
lacking anyway.
Nah, literally. Don't trust people.
So we briefly mentioned when Michelle did the intro that you are like a director for Manchester Carnival, which is very big for us. We've grown up going to the carnival. So what does carnival mean to you personally?
Yeah, Carnival holds a special place in my heart. I'm Jamaican heritage. In the Caribbean, Carnival is a big aspect. We look forward to it. We prepare for it. Everyone rolls out, and we celebrate. We celebrate diversity. We celebrate culture. So Carnival has always been a big part of me. I'd say, as a young person, I've always attended Manchester Caribbean Carnival. I've always visited other carnivals as well. So I don't just go to Manchester, I go to the others, Leeds, Preston, or like as many as I can each year. And it's something that
No, because I went to uni in Preston and Preston Carnival.
no comment. Anyway, no comment. Yeah.
We'll just leave it there.
But I feel from attending Carnival every year, I was always that young person who I would have my outfits ready for Carnival weekend. And I know I'm not the only one.
Lay it out the
so
night
you knew
before.
you was going Carnival the Saturday, you knew you was going Carnival the Sunday. From the week before, you've gone town, Trafford Centre, you've got your outfits ready. That was me. Carnival would normally start at 12. I'm out my house by 11:45. That was always me as a young person.
Wow.
Like we'd meet up as friends, we'd do the whole the procession, then we're back in the park, then we're at the street parties. That was always me as a young person. But as I grew older, I felt, my personal view, that Manchester Caribbean Carnival was decreasing in terms of the vibes, in terms of the structure, in terms of Carnival in general. So when there was a restructure from the old Carnival team, Manchester City Council had offered, I've put out a tender, in other words, where they allowed groups to pitch and put together a proposal to be considered to take over Manchester Caribbean Carnival. A few of us came together. So I'm one of the directors for Legacy 90.1 as well. And a few of us who are involved in Legacy had formed together to put the pitch together and to submit the proposal. And obviously we were the winning group. So we took Manchester Caribbean Carnival over in 2022, I think it is. And, being one of the directors, being the treasurer as well. And my role in the carnival is creative content lead. So anything, all the entertainment side is my aspects. So the stages, the marquees, the performances, the DJs, all of that's my remit. And then outside of that, as a director role, I'm the treasurer. It's been fantastic. It's been a great opportunity because I feel that we've been able to reclaim Carnival and to make it better. And don't get me wrong, there's still things that we know we need to do. But each year since us having it as a group, I feel has been stronger and stronger than the past few years when the carnival was decreasing. So we're on a journey. Last year was 60,000 people.
Oh, wow.
We had over the 2 days. No trouble.
Okay.
No trouble either. And I think it's important that people understand that carnival and street parties had separate identities. I get it, because obviously it's after parties. People might think it's carnival. Actually, it's not. And we don't have anything to do with the after parties. So we're just Manchester Caribbean Carnival in the park. It would be good to maybe have some form of structure to make the street parties better again. But unfortunately, that whole statement of, we need to make sure we can run before we walk. We're not trying to take over everything.
Yeah.
We're going in small steps. And our step right now is just making Manchester Caribbean Carnival one of the best carnivals in the UK. We're getting there. Next year is going to be even bigger and better. But it's great being able to now be on the directors team, being a young person who attended Carnival every single year and who is passionate about Carnival in general.
Yeah. No, leading on to that, because you mentioned no trouble, but I think you've separated street parties, because I was going to ask, have you ever felt pressure as the director and MC yearly when it comes to gun and knife crime in Manchester Carnival, or like the after parties, because that's where I've personally experienced it.
Yeah, I'd say, I definitely feel the pressure in terms of that. As a young person, I was often a young person who loved street parties. I actually enjoyed the street parties more than I enjoyed Carnival. Because that, you know what I mean? Because the music and you're there, the vibes were there, if I'm being honest. I think, I would love, and I think it's important that, the street parties element is good because obviously, people don't have to go home after Carnival, but there needs to be a structure because right now, I'd say, the street parties are unsafe. And the reason why they are unsafe is because there's no structure out there, if you get where I'm coming from. No security, no stewards, police roll out when something happens.
Yeah.
That's how it is. Some carnivals in other cities have a structure for their after parties. I've always praised Leeds. The reason why I praise Leeds is because their residents and those businesses come together.
Yeah.
They put money together to secure the street parties. So when you go to these Carnival street parties, you see security, you see stewards, you see cleaners, and after those after parties finish, if they say right, it's finishing at 2:00, it's finished at 2:00. Not a single song after that. And then what you then see is you see business owners and residents coming out cleaning the street together. That togetherness is there, that structure's there. Unfortunately, in terms of street parties, that structure's not there in Manchester yet.
Yeah.
It would be good if people could work towards doing that. But at current, I definitely, since being one of the directors of Manchester Caribbean Carnival, I no longer go to street parties because of out of respect for that.
Yeah, it makes sense.
And I do miss it. No, I'm joking.
To be fair, it's been a couple of years since I last went, and my last experience was because of an incident that took place that day, so I just didn't feel safe attending anymore.
Absolutely.
But Carnival has always been good.
Good.
So it's important to note that they're two separate
events.
Put them under one umbrella.
Exactly. Absolutely. Two separate identities. The Carnival team don't have nothing to do with street parties. We're just the Carnival. And I know that there'll be I do a lot of research, especially after Carnival, so I always like to look at comments and see what people are saying on social media and stuff. And I know that some people will be unhappy with how secure the park now is. If you've attended Carnival in the last few years, you'll see that now there's a structure. You get searched before you come into the park. You're not allowed to bring in any fluids or anything from outside the park into the park. There's actual secure lanes now where you queue and you wait until you get in.
We didn't have that. You just walked through the gate.
You just walked in and you walked out.
I didn't even know that because I've not been for years.
So I know that now, there'll be some people who totally don't like that, and they think that, oh gosh, it's too structured, that's not what Carnival's about. Unfortunately, because so much has happened over the past years at Carnival and outside the Carnival, a way of us just making sure that the event is secure and making sure that the event can go ahead is by us just having that secure in place. And I think having structure, it might seem boring or too much for other people, but I think it makes other people feel safer to be able to attend those type of events. Absolutely.
So,
I mean, clearly it's working with the turnout. You said
exactly.
60,000
last year. This year, I said last year, it's this year. Wow.
This year.
Yeah, 60,000.
It's just we're in winter now, so it feels different.
Definitely. It's an absolute blessing. And just seeing more and more different cities being there as well. There's coaches from here, there, and everywhere coming now. That was the case back in the day, but then that declined. But now it's like other people are getting involved. Definitely. And it starts from early morning. We've got Juve that starts from early in the morning, like 7 till 9 a.m. in the morning, and then the main carnival procession that starts at 12. So we've proper incorporated that Caribbean and African culture in terms of what they do overseas is the structure that we've now got here.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Okay.
Interesting.
Well, now going on to yet another thing you're involved in.
Another accolade.
Another accolade.
Yeah, another thing.
Black Men in Teach.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you're involved with that. How did you get involved with that? And can you explain just a bit about like what?
Yeah, so Black Men Teach. The co-founders are Albert Adeyemi and John I. Josephs, who is my cousin. Where Black Men Teach came from was during lockdown. I know when we say lockdown, everyone just rolls their eyes like, oh, remember that time? But during lockdown, as educators, we were still working, but we had to deliver from home. So do you remember the whole online classes and online sessions? It wasn't a nice time. Yeah. I remember a few of us like taking to social media. So at that time, Twitter was the place. And I remember us, just kind of, educators were sharing their experiences and sharing their views. Oh, how he's finding it. Oh, it's difficult. Has anyone got any resources? A lot of that was happening. And then a few of us, we managed to just meet via Twitter. And then we realised that, we were all head of years. So we were all head of years at the time. All lived in the UK, different cities. And we all had very similar views on education, on, what the extra support that's needed for young people. We then came together and then we decided to meet up. We met up and then we were speaking about education. We're like, oh, we should do this, we should do that. There's a lack of, black males don't get the support that they need. We feel that sometimes, authorities are waiting for them to fail purposely because of the stereotype of black males in general, and it was like, oh, we need to do something kind of thing. So those two took the lead on creating Black Men Teach, and then we joined Black Men Teach as members. So Black Men Teach is basically a group of educators who they meet on a regular basis. They have online sessions, they have in-person events, they deliver training to schools, they speak at conferences about diversity, about representation, about support needed for black and brown young people. It's that sort of thing. It's a network. It's a network to champion the importance of supporting global majority young people and global majority educators, because sometimes you might possibly be the only person of colour in your school as a member of staff, or that might not be the case. Do you get where I'm coming from? So it's for teaching staff, but it's also for young people as well. Black Men Teach is absolutely growing. It was great to see. I was at the NEU conference last week, the Black Educators Conference. They delivered an amazing workshop on representation, and it was the workshop that was the busiest.
Wow.
You get where I'm coming from there. It was absolutely filled, the room was filled, and that shows, because it's what people understand is so important today, and it's what's not being spoken about as much as it should. So when it is being spoken about, people want to know about it, because people want to know strategies or what they can do to be better in the classroom, or how they can support young people in need who are of global majority. So yeah.
Another accolade that you do have is you are on the board of Rekindle, which is like a school, supplementary school. Sorry. So it's a lot of notes for you. So do you want to give me a bit more information about that, like what your role is and how they help the community?
So Rekindle, so I'm one of the trustees of Rekindle, and Rekindle is a supplementary school in Hume in central Manchester, and the whole idea of it is the supplementary brand is, it's about how young people are supported outside of school hours. So for example, when school's finished, they can come to Rekindle, and it's about the different level of education that they get that's different to mainstream school. So for example, they will teach young people about life skills, first aid, how to cook, hair care.
Critical.
Do you get where I'm coming from? The stuff that the normal school structure don't do is what a supplementary school will do. So it's about providing that safe space for young people to prepare them for life different than the mainstream umbrella. So they do things such as, let's say, music classes, art, drama sessions, cooking classes. Do you get where I'm coming from? And it's different things that we know are important, because when young people grow up into adulthood, they need to know these skills. They need to know the importance. If they're in the shop and something happens to someone, them being able to administer first aid is very important. You get where I'm coming from? And like when we spoke earlier about, for example, finances, they're the types of topics that a supplementary school will touch on in terms of like financial support, housing. They go into conversations, they do workshops, they do sessions, and then they plan on pitching to authorities. So for example, they might find a cause that is very important to them, and as the young people in a supplementary school, they will say, okay, let's put together a program. Let's go and deliver it to the councillors. Let's go and visit Parliament. Let's go and speak to them about the fact that young people need to be invested in more. So that's the supplementary school umbrella. I think it's very important because we know mainstream schools have their importance on what they need to do. We know that. They follow the national curriculum, we get that. But we know that there's other elements of education that young people need. So young people attending a local supplementary school and being able to get that extra education outside of school hours just prepares them for adulthood in the best possible way. They get fed with a hot, nutritious meal every single day, which is also important. Some young people, for example, go to school having their meal as that only hot meal of the day. You'll be surprised when you have the conversation. Some students go to school just in time for lunchtime. I see it happening, and it's interesting when you have the conversation and you catch on to the fact that they're actually coming for the dinner, not for the education. So, in Rekindle Supplementary School, they get fed each day, and it's just that safe space where they can be themselves and get homework support as well. Once again, homework's difficult nowadays. Young people are being given homework to complete at home, but we must remember that it's not every household that has the tools to support a young person with algebra, for example. If the parent or carer, let's say, hasn't been educated in the UK or doesn't know such topics, how are they supposed to support their young person with their homework?
Even just the adults in the house, they might have different work schedules. Like growing up, my dad did 12-hour night shift. So when I came home, my older brother would be the one to support me.
Exactly.
So
they tick that box and tick that umbrella. So whilst being fed, they will be completing homework and they'll be getting them extra boosters and extra tuition classes. Because yes, you get some young people who go to booster or go to a private tuition after school, but not every family can also afford that. So they get that extra support at Rekindle.
I think that's good, and they can also socialize with people that are in their age group and not feel shame for what's happening to them
within their community as well.
Amazing.
What's your biggest lesson from taking the unconventional route?
Go finish.
Give me a minute.
3 off guards.
We should have gave him the prep a little bit.
Wow. My biggest lesson, as everyone will be able to tell, I've definitely not taken the traditional route. And I think, it's always something that people always try to push young people to take the traditional route. And, I think it's important that everyone understands that just because one might not take the traditional route, that doesn't mean that they're not going to be successful. And one thing that I learned was that it's important to believe in myself and to not compare yourself to others. And the reason why I say that was my friendship group were very intellectual in school, and I didn't feel like I was. So there was often a lot of comparing. And when I say that, I mean in terms of, let's say, sets, right? In school, I was always in the middle set. Yeah. Never got out of Middlesex from year 7 right up through. The set that I came into school in year 7 was the set I remained in for the whole of my secondary school journey. My friends were all in top set. So our timetables were different. When they had maths, I didn't, for example. So when they had a core subject, I didn't. When they were going on certain trips, I was going with a different group because I wasn't in top set. And that can dull you as a person. And I think that's why I'm not keen on sets now. When I hear young people say, oh, I'm in set, I always say to them, look, it doesn't matter about what set you're in, because I know how it made me feel at that time. So I would often compare myself to my friends, and I'd think, I'm not as smart as them.
Yeah.
Do you get where I'm coming from? And when they would sign up to certain things like Duke of Edinburgh, I wouldn't sign up to it because I didn't feel like I was good enough for it. Because I always thought, like they're on the top set, so if they get set challenges, they're going to be able to do it. I'm not going to be able to do it. And it took a long time for me to understand that, okay, fair enough, you know what I mean? Like if your friends are for example on a different journey, but you are you, and you have to just believe in your journey and your path. And I think that's the biggest lesson for me, was definitely to not compare myself to others and to believe in myself no matter what. Because once I started believing in myself and I started being a bit more free spirited in terms of I'm going to try.
Yeah.
If it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. That's when I feel that I began to grow more.
Amazing. Thank you. So guys, because the topic has been quite deep today,
Sorry.
But I've loved it. So I felt like the audience, I was learning too.
yeah, I really learned a lot about you. Like, we spoke before we started this, but as we got into it, like, I got to know a lot more about you.
Yeah.
Just to close off, I have some fun questions for you. So number 1 is that, what's your favorite Manchester spot?
Me, sport.
No, like your favorite spot to go and
sport.
unwind.
I thought you said
Like-
sport. I'm about to say sport. Do I have sport here?
No, like your favorite spot to go
Favorite
and unwind
spot.
or do whatever.
Ooh,
Chill, or
okay.
for food or go for drinks. Yeah. Favorite
I
spot.
don't want to tell these my business now. My favorite spot. Okay. My favorite spot is Alchemist Media City.
Yeah, that's a nice spot.
The reason why, I could eat and drink there every day and I wouldn't be bored. Yeah, that's just me. The reason why I like it is the food, the cocktails, the scenery, but then also the fact that on the weekend I love a go-to place that has a little DJ as well. So that is a bit of vibe. I don't
bit
like
of
silence.
ambience.
Yeah, do you know what I mean? I don't like silence. Don't want to just eat and you can just hear...
And your thoughts.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Not having none of that.
Yeah.
So Alchemist Media City, and also I quite like, so to go out. Back in the day, I was very deep in the clubs, yeah, and I loved going out in the clubs. Whereas now that I'm a bit older, I like wine bars.
Yeah.
I like wine bars that has music, yeah. So I'm a fan of Didsbury. But then I'm also a fan of like Alderley Edge as well, because then you've got the strip. So I love the whole idea of being able to start at one place and just move on.
Work your way up.
Bar hop.
Yeah, bar hop. So that's a bit of me.
I hear
Yeah,
it.
that's a bit
Yeah.
of me.
Chill drink.
Yeah.
Another one is, what's one thing people always get wrong about you?
One thing that people always get wrong about me is everyone always assumes that I've got kids. Sorry, I know this is no, but I think what it is because everyone would assume, like, for example, oh, you're 31,
Yeah.
definitely got kids and partner.
Yeah.
And it's always like, it's that expectation, isn't it? And it's hilarious because all the time, it doesn't matter who it is, if it's a family member or if it's not, or if it's someone, they'll say, oh, where's your wife? And it's that assumption of, oh, he's in his career, he's in his 30s,
Yeah.
he has to have a child or a partner. So that's one thing that always gets assumed, and it's just not the case. Just throwing it out there. Yeah.
You single
Call
and
through,
ready to
guys.
mingle.
Okay, one last question would be, what's one piece of advice for anyone feeling left behind in life or feeling like they're behind in their life? Okay, 2D.
The side eye is giving me like.
Okay. One piece of advice.
You can give it a shot because I have 2 minutes left.
Okay. One piece of advice that I'd give is to not be focused on following a route or a time scale. Everyone can build at a different time. So you might be in your 40s now, you might still not know what you want to do in your life. That's okay. Do you get where I'm coming from? There's not a structure in terms of by 21 you need to be here, by 25 you need to be there. Yes, old school agenda was always you felt that you have to follow the traditional path. I didn't follow the traditional path and I've got to where I am now. So I think it's about you just understanding that there's no time scale. It's not a race, but it's about you following your path and going at the pace going at the pace that's for you.
Thank you.
Putting self first as well, because that's more important as well.
Okay.